Good morning, this is Dominic with TheBackVlog. Recently I finished Thomas Pynchon's The Crying of Lot 49. I've heard his name pronounced Pynchon before. I don't know if it's Pynchon or Pynchon. I prefer Pynchon because Pynchon sounds funny. This is my second Pynchon book that I finished, the first one being Inherent Vice, because I really like Paul Thomas Anderson. He's probably one of my favorites. And I borrowed that book from a professor of mine. But this is my third attempt of reading a Pynchon book because last year I tried to read Gravity's Rainbow and I got knocked out like 70 pages in, and I really want to go back to it, but the way that Pynchon writes is so oppressive. It was kind of like the Odyssey the Odyssey obviously was more rhythmic in the way it was written, but like once you start to get into a flow of reading Pynchon, it's like the way he's writing is very, I guess it's kind of conversational. The way he's writing is that of the way that a person talks, with all of the flourishes that a person does when they talk. So that includes stuff like whenever I say like or like, which I'm very self-conscious about. All of that stuff is like written into the prose, and a lot of it can be tangential as well. And sometimes it's hard to follow, but like whenever you get into a steady rhythm of reading it, it kind of flows and you get a grasp of what's being said. I think that's really interesting, but I think that's why Pynchon is so difficult for me. One of the reasons why, because another reason, and I've noticed this with Inherent Vice also, and I can't really speak for Gravity's Rainbow because I don't really know much about it yet. Pynchon's labyrinth plots are insane. They're deranged. I have written down here that his plots are like an episode of Whose Line Is It Anyway, where it's just constantly like yes-anding itself, because you have somebody going somewhere to do something, but then that expands into another like breadcrumb, because the premise of this, as well as Inherent Vice, and I guess, I don't know, this might just be a Pynchon thing in general, but like he writes a really good conspiracy, and he's like leaving these like breadcrumbs to reach the conclusion of this conspiracy, and he's basically sending these characters on a wild goose chase. It really felt like David Fincher's The Game, because this plot that's happening, this conspiracy, which I can't really give details because I guess before I talk about this David Fincher thing, I feel like to get a good understanding of Pynchon, you need to, or of each individual one of his books, you need to have some preliminary research to understand the things that he's talking about. In this, he's talking about, what's it called? I don't remember what it's called. Demon's Law or something, which is a law of or it's a law that disproves the second law of thermodynamics, I believe. And he also talks about independent mail delivery services from centuries ago, specifically Thurn and taxis. He's talking about Freud. He's talking about Oedipus Rex. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. As I was saying about the David Lynch, I always say that. My mind always has David Lynch, because I think about David Lynch every day. What I was saying about the David Fincher thing, with Michael Douglas's The Game, is that, you have like this grand conspiracy that seems to be there only to be fucking with the main character specifically. I think that's really funny. I think this is really funny. I think situationally it's really funny. I think upon further viewings of further readings of this would be funny, just because like Oedipa Moss, the main character, she just keeps getting her leg pulled, man. She doesn't deserve what happens to her. Nothing bad happens to her. It's just that so much of her time is wasted. I guess the conspiracy that's going on here is the conflict between two independent mail delivery services, one of which was real, the Thurn taxis, and the other one is the Tristero. And this is the symbol of the Tristero, the twisted mute horn or post horn with a mute in it. There's no mute in this rendering of it. So this Tristero symbol is everywhere, and everybody is seemingly in on this conspiracy. And there's actually a point in this book where they're talking about it. I don't remember who she's talking to, but Oedipa's talking to somebody, and she's like asking about like the groups that are involved with the conspiracy, and the person that is talking to her is like, it would be easier to ask what groups aren't involved with the conspiracy. So what I'm thinking is that, and she's like seeing this symbol everywhere. She's seeing it in bathroom stalls and on like light posts and like traffic signs and shit like that. If this symbol is everywhere and this conspiracy is everywhere and has been everywhere for centuries, how has nobody besides Oedipa noticed this until like throughout all time? How has nobody but Oedipa ever questioned this? It's really insane to think about. It's deranged. Like I said, it's deranged. I really appreciate the ending of this too. But she's at this auction, and there's this collection. There's this lot 49. The eponymous lot 49 is where all these forged mail stamps are, and they all have the Tristero symbol on them. She like sitting at the auction waiting to see who placed basically a proxy bid on them, so the conspiracy can go on unnoticed. And the book literally ends, the final words of the book are the crying of lot 49, because the crying of lot 49 is referring to Oedipa waiting for the crying of lot 49 from the auction crier. I think that was really well done, and while you never get, as a reader, you never get an answer to the conspiracy, I think the way that it ends is really interesting. And honestly, I don't think there's an answer to the conspiracy. I think it's there to fuck with Oedipa, and that's about it. I also, the reason I heard of the crying of lot 49 to begin with was years ago, there was this show on AMC called Lodge 49, which starred Kurt Russell's son, Wyatt Russell, among other people. And that show was so good, and nobody's heard of it. It was such a wholesome show, and such a comfortable, cozy show. And it was sad, and it was funny, and it got canceled way before its time. And also ended with no answers. The final scene of that show, I can't remember much about that show at all, besides like some of the general premises of it. But the final scene of that show I will never forget, because it is so perplexing. What a way to get your show canceled with. What an ending to have your show canceled on. I really recommend Lodge 49, the AMC show. It's only 2 seasons long. I don't know if you can watch it legally anymore, so you know what to do. But man, that show never got a physical release. I would like to make a custom physical release of it one day, because that show was just it was refreshing to see something like that on AMC, or just like on American television, modern American television at that point, when everything else was like as violent and as depressing as it was. It was a great show. This was a good book, but Lodge 49 is a great show. But that's not what this video is about, so bye-bye.